Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. It's a sunny day here in Manchester. So today's daf we're doing is Bava Kamma 65 Amud B. So let's dive straight in. And the rabbis say, it is written concerning a bailey who falsely claims innocence with regard to a deposit entrusted to him. He shall restore according to its principle, and shall add its fifth part to it in Leviticus 5:24. This verse teaches that with regard to a monetary restitution that is paid precisely according to the principle, one adds 1/5. But for monetary restitution that is not paid according to the principle, as in the case here, when the bailey pays double the principle, one does not add 1/5. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says, neither the additional 1/5 nor the guilt offering is paid in a case where there's double payment. This concludes the brisa. So what does, let's just read the footnote of that. If a bailey claimed the deposit was stolen from him and he took an oath to that effect, and afterward the witnesses testified that he was lying and the item was in his possession, he pays the double payment. If the deposit was an animal and he sold it or slaughtered it after the false oath, he pays the fourfold or fivefold payment. He does not bring a guilt offering in this case, nor is he required to pay the additional 1/5. Rabbi Sefer Nezichin Geneva 4:1. Rabbi Chanina explains, in any event, the brisa teaches, his payment of an additional 1/5 is covered by his double payment. From the discussion in the Gemara, it is clear that Rabbi Yaakov means that if the additional 1/5 happens to correspond exactly to the penalty component of the double payment, in accordance with the change in value of the animal, the payment of additional 1/5 is cancelled out by the double payment. Rashi explains the reason for this ruling. The payment of the additional 1/5 serves to atone for the false oath. In order for the atonement to be effective, it must be recognizable as a distinct unit. Consequently, the additional 1/5 is cancelled only if it coincides exactly with the penalty component of the double payment. As in that case, it is evident that he has paid 1/5 for his atonement. Tosafot raised a difficulty with this assertion, for which there is no apparent biblical source. They explain that the Gemara's inference is based solely on Rabbi Yaakov's statement itself, which indicates that he is referring to a case where 1/5 is exactly equal to the double payment. Some interpret Rabbi Yaakov's opinion in the opposite manner. If 1/5 is equal to the penalty component of the double payment, the bailey pays 1/5 and executes on paying the double payment to the Ravid. The commentator further asks, according to the interpretation of Tosafot, what is the practical difference between the rulings of Rabbi Yaakov and the rabbis? After all, Rabbi Yaakov agrees that he does not pay any more than the double payment. The Maram Lublin answers that the difference is in a case where 1/5 is more than the penalty component of the double payment. Rabbi Yaakov requires him to also pay that part of the additional 1/5 and is not subsumed within the double payment. Whereas the rabbis exempt him from the payment of 1/5 entirely, and they require him to pay only the double payment, says the Ravid. Rabbi Chanina explains, in any event, the brisa teaches his payment of the additional 1/5 is covered by his double payment. This is a statement of Rabbi Yaakov. Who's Rabbi Yaakov? A member Sanhedrin of At Usha. Rabbi Yaakov ben Kushi was appointed by Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel to teach his son Yehuda, later known as Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Rabbi Yaakov's collection of Mishnah served as a significant source of for the Mishnah, compiled by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. A staunch supporter of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Rabbi Yaakov prevented Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Nathan the Babylonian from deposing him from the position of Nasi. What are the circumstances of this case? If we say that he stole the item, so he said again, if we say that the stolen item was initially worth 4 dinars, then ultimately at the time of trial it was still worth 4 dinars, how could he say his payment of the additional 1/5 is covered by double payment? This statement is inaccurate in this case. As a double payment, i.e. the penalty included in the double payment is 4 dinars, and the additional 1/5 is 1 dinar. When the Torah states 5th, it means 1/5 of the total payment of the 1/5 and the principal together, i.e. 1/4 of the principal. For the additional 1/5 to be covered by the double payment, 2 must be exactly equal, which is not the case here. Rather, is it not referring to a situation where initially it was worth 4 dinars and the end it was worth 1 dinar? As the penalty component of the double payment is 1 dinar and the additional 1/5 is also 1 dinar. Apparently, the principal as well as the additional 1/5 is paid according to the value as of the time when he stole, whereas the double payment and the fourfold or fivefold payment is according to the value at the time of standing trial as claimed by Rav. The Gemara refutes this analysis. Rav said, obviously the bride could be referring to a case in which initially it was worth 4 dinars, and now at the time of trial it is also worth 4 dinars. And for what is difficult with this case, namely that the double payment is 4 dinars and the additional 1/5 is 1 dinar. This problem can be resolved as follows. With what are we dealing here? It is a case where the bailey took an oath that the deposit was stolen from him, and again he took the same oath. Hanishba v'chata nishba. The commentaries explain that this scenario is possible only in a situation where the bailey was brought to trial each time in a different court. If we return to the same court, however, the judge would not trust him to take an oath, having admitted to having lied under oath previously. And that's the Rashba and the Meiri, and so on 4 times. And after each oath, he admitted afterward that he had lied. And the Torah said, and shall add its 5th part. He mishitav to it. Leviticus 5:24. Rabbi continues. The term hamishitav is in the plural, which indicates that the Torah included the possibility of many payments of additional 1/5 for a single principle. So let's explain that. HaTorah ribsa chamishiyos harba b'keren achas. If a bailey claims that the deposit entrusted him has become lost, or if he altogether denies having received it, and he takes an oath to corroborate his claim of exemption from payment, so he admits that he was lying, and later he once again claims falsely that the item was lost, and takes an oath to that effect, he must pay the principal amount and add 1/5 for each time that he took a false oath. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Aflah Hilchot Shavuot 7:15 and Sefer Nazik and Hilchot Gezela V'Aveda 7:13 Torah Chotei Mishpat 352. In other words, each time the bailey takes a false oath, he becomes obligated to pay an additional 1/5, despite the fact that each oath concerns the same item. Since he did so 4 times, and the 1/5 is actually 1/4 of the principal, the total amount of payment of the additional 1/5 is equal to the principal, which is the same as the penalty component of the double payment. The master said it in the Braita, and the sages say he shall restore it according to its principle, and it shall add its 5th part to it in Leviticus 5:24. This verse teaches that for monetary restitution that is paid precisely according to the principle, one adds 1/5, but for monetary restitution that is not paid precisely to the principle, one does not add 1/5. The one first, he does not add 1/5, but is obligated to bring a guilt offering. The Gemara asks, what is different about the additional 1/5 in that case that he does not have to pay? As is written, he shall restore it according to its principle, and shall add his 5th to part of it. This indicates that the additional 1/5 is linked to the payment of the precise amount of the principal amount. If so, with regard to the guilt offering as well, he should not have to pay. I bring it, as it is written, he shall restore it according to its principle, and shall add his 5th part to it, and his guilt offering. V'yit Hashimo. He shall bring it to the law in Leviticus 5:24-25. The verse links the guilt offering to the payment of the precise amount of the principal, just like it does the additional 1/5. The Gemara answers, sages would say to you in response, the superfluous word es in the phrase and its guilt offering v'es ashamo divides the verse. Therefore, only the additional 1/5 payment, but not the guilt offering, is linked to the payment of the precise amount of the principal. The Gemara asks, and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, who maintains that this bailey is exempt from a guilt offering as well, how would he respond to the sage's argument concerning es? He would point out that the term in question is actually v'es, consisting of the word es preceded by the letter vav, meaning and. The conjunction joins the clauses of the verse. Therefore, both the additional 1/5 payment and the guilt offering are linked to the payment of the precise amount of the principal. And the rabbis would respond to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai's claim and say to you, if the Torah had intended that the two issues should be joined together, that the mitzvah might write neither the vav nor es. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai could have said to you in response to this argument, it is not possible for the verse to have not written as this term is necessary to separate between property belonging to the Most High, i.e. the guilt offering, and non-sacred property, i.e. that of a Jew. Therefore, as the verse had come to use s to indicate this difference, the Vav comes and joins the clauses of the verse. The Gemara discusses other cases in which an object undergoes a change after having been stolen. Rabbi Elias says, if one stole a lamb and subsequently became a ram, if one stole a lamb and it grew into a ram, or he stole a calf that grew into a bull, he pays the principal and a double payment in accordance with the value of the animal at the time of the theft. If he slaughtered or sold the animal after it matured, then since it underwent a change while in the thief's possession, it is considered as though he slaughtered or sold his own animal, and he is consequently exempt from the fourfold or fivefold payment. I'm safe in the Zik and Hilchot Neighbor 113 and Hilchot Gedera Aveda 214, Shochet Aruch Mishpat 353:1 and 360:10 in the comment of the Ramah. Or if he stole a calf and subsequently became a bull, the stolen item is undergone a change while in the thief's possession and has therefore acquired it as his own property. Consequently, his obligation of restitution consists of monetary payment rather than giving back the stolen item itself. If he subsequently slaughtered or sold the animal, it is in effect his own animal that he slaughters, or it is his own animal that he sells, and he is not obligated in the 4 or 5 payment. Rabbi Hanina raised an objection to Rabbi Ilya from a Braita. If one stole a lamb and subsequently became a ram, or if he stole a calf and subsequently became a bull, he pays double payment as a fourfold or fivefold payment according to the animal's value as of the time when he stole it. If it enters your mind that in a case of this kind, the thief has acquired the animal as his own property by virtue of the physical change the animal underwent when it matured, why does he pay the fourfold or fivefold payment? After all, it is his own animal that he slaughters, or is it his own animal that he sells? Rabbi Ilya said to him, rather, what would you conclude from the Braita? That this physical change in the stolen animal does not serve to acquire it for the thief and render it his property? If so, why should he pay according to the animal's value as of the time when he stole it? Let him pay according to the animal's value now, at the time of the slaughter or sale. Rabbi Hanina said to him, this is the reason that he is not paying according with the animal's value now. It is because the thief can say to the animal's owner, did I steal a bull from you, or did I steal a ram from you? No, I stole only a calf or lamb, and therefore I pay the value of the animal when I stole it. Rabbi Ilya said to Rabbi Hanina, may the mitzvah save us from this opinion of yours. Rabbi Hanina said back to him, on the contrary, may the mitzvah save us from your opinion. Rabbi Zeva objects to this. But even if the animal's natural good is not considered physical change, let the thief acquire it through its change in name. Late change of classification, as the animal was originally called a calf or lamb and now considered a bull or ram. Rabbi says, there is in fact no change in the name here, as even a day-old bull is called a bull, and even a day-old ram is called a ram, and a day-old bull is called a bull, as is written when a bull or sheep or goat is born in Leviticus 22:27. A day-old ram is called a ram, as can be derived from Jacob's statement to Laban, as it is written, and the rams of your flock I have not eaten, in Genesis 31:38. Now did Jacob mean that he did not eat any of Laban's rams, but younger lambs he did eat? This is certainly not the meaning of this verse, as this would mean that he was a thief. One must conclude from this verse that a day-old ram is called a ram. In any case, the Braita cited earlier by Rabbi Hanina is difficult for the opinion of Rabbi Ilya, as it states that the thief must pay the fourfold or fivefold payment despite the fact that the slaughter or sale of the animal took place after it matured from a calf or to a bull, or from a lamb to a ram. To resolve the difficulty, Rav Sheshet said, in accordance with the opinion of this Braita, in accordance with the opinion of Beit Shammai, who say an item, even if it has undergone a physical change, remains in its place, i.e. a stolen item remains in possession of its owner, and a thief does not acquire it, even if it undergoes a change. As is taught in the Braita, if one gave wheat to a prostitute for a payment, if one gave wheat to a harlot for her services, and she made flour out of it, or if he gave her olives from which she made oil, these products are not prohibited to the altar as payments of a prostitute, as they have undergone a change, in according to the opinion of Beit Hillel. 4:15. By the hire of services, and she made the wheat into flour, or he gave her olives and she made them into oil, or if he gave her grapes, she made them into wine. It is taught in one Braita that it is prohibited to bring these products as offering in the temple. In accordance with the verse, you should not bring the hire of a harlot into the house of the Lord your God for any vow. In Deuteronomy 23:19, and it is taught in one Braita that these products are permitted, as the physical change renders them into new products. And Rav Yossi said that Gurin of Asparak teaches in a Braita, Beis Shammai prohibit these products and Beis Hillel permit them. If so, these two Braitas reflect the dispute between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. The Gemara clarifies the source of these two opinions. One is the reason of Beis Shammai for prohibiting these products. As it is written, you should not bring the hire of a harlot or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord for any vow, for even both of these are an abomination to the Lord your God. In Deuteronomy 23:19, the superfluous word even serves to include their changed status, and Beis Hillel, who permit these items after having undergone a physical change, maintain that the term these in the phrase both of these teaches that this prohibition applies only to the original items, but not to their changed form. And Beis Shammai would reply, just the first sentence of the next onward, that term these comes to teach that this halacha applies only to the animals given as payment to the prostitute, but not to their offspring. Thank you for listening, and wish you a very good day. All the best. Bye.